good evening. It's another beautiful night in the mountains and out there. Cheers, say hello. Good evening. How you doing? You can pop the chat right here, pardon me. There we go. Very good. I'm actually doing really well. I appreciate it. Just kind of shuffle them up here. While you close up. Danny, hello. Welcome. Good evening. You know what I thought might be fun tonight is just sort of an interesting idea. Since there's so much tumult going on in the world in respect to international relations, immigration, I don't think there's really any aspect of life. Yazzie, good to see you. Thanks for popping back in. I don't think there's any aspect of life right now, really, no matter where you live in the world, where there isn't some type of tension and all of the things that come along with that. And so I thought it might be interesting to sort of take a look at, before I do some question and answer with you guys, look at some of the things that are happening in the world and maybe, I don't know, pull a few cards and see what we should expect, what we should be doing, or maybe gaining some insight. I know here in America there's a lot going on in respect to in the political scene, with the Democratic Party trying to find their suitor. Okay, good. Why? Was the audio bad at one point? Yeah. Hello, Sarah. How you doing? So let's just look really quickly at what we could expect in the upcoming election next year. Are we going to have a positive outlook on our leaders? You know, it's interesting because the process was set up so that we have input into who our leaders are and that we have this responsibility to pick our leaders in the proper way. And it seems like we've fallen away from that a little bit, and I think that we need to revisit what's important in life when we make these kinds of decisions. It's not a small decision who we put in positions of power, even from the smallest level at the county all the way up. And so the election next year is obviously very important. And just curious, I'm just going to throw a couple cards out, see what we see, and then go on to some questions in the room. I'm doing good tonight, Sarah? Okay, good. I'm glad that it's not echoing anymore. I appreciate that. Interesting. Here is what I see. I see a younger man and a woman in the next election. So, or the winner of the next election, let me be very clear on that, as the new leading party. Which is interesting. I mean, obviously there are a lot of younger men there right now, but I do see this sort of, this individual is going to have a sternness and a confidence and a stubbornness about them. But I do see there being a youthful individual. So I guess that's a disappointment to the Bernie fans out there. I happen to like Bernie Sanders, but I like stars. Hello, good evening. And the woman is going to have similar qualities. In fact, I think that many people will look at these two individuals, not necessarily in their approach, but are going to look at these two individuals in their outward personality in very, very similar ways. They're going to be respected for their ability to bring together and to provide foundation on a community level. People are going to come together with these people as opposed to the decisiveness. I do see that. And I do see, again, a level of stability and an end of old ways. So that's an interesting thing. Now, that could be interpreted some ways, and I'm not going to get too far into that right now because I don't want this to be a political discussion necessarily, but I just wanted to kind of put that out there, that I do see some change, and I do see a man and a woman. What the roles are, whether what's president, what's vice president, I'm not sure, but I do see that as being the new leadership. God, I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right on that. So I'd like to, at this point, I guess, open it up to some questions. Now, as far as the order of how people came into the room tonight, is really the best manner that I go about that. So if you do have a question, what I'm going to do is put out a quick list of what that order is, and then we can go from there. So we have, looks like Shirsha, Danny, Yazzie, Sarah, and Eyes Like Stars. There we go. So that's kind of where we are as far as questions and answers, and I love the smell of Nag Champa. Who's a fan of Nag Champa? Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Hey, Sarah, I can't see the words that are in your little profile there. It's making me curious. Okay, so Shirsha. How are these current feelings? You are not in communication. Okay, no problem. If it's something unfortunate that's preventing you from communicating, then I'm sorry for that. I apologize. It's really one of the things that I think can maintain a lot of negative feelings is when communication breaks down and there isn't an opportunity for you to potentially work things out or even have the chance to. Sometimes if you make yourself right with the situation and you are able to come from a place of understanding and forgiveness, at least internally with yourself, that can really do a lot. So that when communication is possible, if it is at all, there's a solid foundation for that to move forward in a better way. So, thank you, Yazzie. I appreciate that. That's very true, Shirsha. That's very true. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Okay. I see, at first thing I see is it does kind of go a little bit back and forth. The emotions are go back and forth, and they go in between sort of a stubborn individual like rightness, or like an individual kind of entitlement, and that's one way that he feels about you, sort of superior in a sense. And then on the other end of that spectrum, which kind of happens to go back and forth, is this idea that things worked out. Like there's a fairness about how things happened, and he doesn't blame you. There's something that he looks at that occurred between you two in the past that reminds him that you are good, or that he has good feelings about you because of that. Some type of work that you did, or some kind of activity, or something that you did for him. Thank you, Sarah, for the sub. I appreciate that. On the other side, when he's feeling sort of confident and dominant, there's this idea that he had to take on a burden that he may not have signed up for or been prepared for. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but it does look like that he did kind of move on past that. He doesn't have that sort of selfish idea about that anymore. And so overall, I would say that he has an okay feeling. At times, he feels a little bit sort of selfish and entitled, but generally speaking, there's this thing that occurred in the past that makes him feel good about you and makes him feel happy about the time you had, or what occurred in that time. So that's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting. I hope that helped out for you. Okay. Harsh with your words. Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I could see that, but exactly, yeah, there's times where he would be, all right, I know that I did this, or you have these circumstances where why did she say these things and do these things? And that balance can really be hard to kind of balance. But at the same time, I would say that there's something maybe prior to when that all took place, prior to this thing that he did where he wronged, that there was a good thing that happened. And that is kind of what I'm seeing and what I'm referring to in respect to when he looks back and feels good about the time you had. And I think that's important. I think we have to remember that. Even sometimes in the bad relationships, there's always good things that you have together that you can go back to. And if you choose to kind of focus on those things, it can remind you that there's always good in something. Try to take whatever that is that you can. So, yeah. Okay, now I'm just going to update the list. And let's see, Danny, yep, you'll be next. I'll grab that in a sec. Eyes like stars. Okay, so right now, this is the list until someone else jumps in after that. And so, okay, Danny, let's take a look. Is there anything I can do to lose weight? I've tried practically every diet there is, cleanses, took diet pills, shakes. Do you have any advice? Okay, let's take a look at that. Sure. There's a few ways that you can look at that, and I would certainly say this. First, is you have to kind of decide what your motivation is to lose weight. If it turns out that your body is actually in an okay balance and you don't actually need to lose weight per se, but need to maybe change some of your habits, but it seems like you've got a little more going on, or is it something where you could be genetic or something along those lines, where it just sort of is in the family and you have to kind of work a little harder at it than some people, or it could be something where it could be a spiritual blockage or something that which oftentimes can be the case, and your behavior is a reflection of that, and then your behavior is what causes the changes in your body. So let's take a look at that. I will say that cleanses, diet pills and shakes, no reason to do that. There's no reason to do that. Very often those types of things are just, first of all, they're shortcuts and they don't change behavior, which is really primarily what's going to change your lifestyle and to promote health. So I would say that, pills and shakes, shortcuts don't work. They never have, never will. Even if you have a short-term result that may seem positive in the long term, typically the results don't maintain, and then you wind up again not changing your habit or lifestyle, and so you just continue with the behavior. But let's take a look and try to find out. I'm going to take the approach spiritually and energetically to say, what is it in your system, in your body, in your being that is blocked, is preventing that flow? Sure, okay. That makes sense. Well, a lot of us do that. First thing, dance. Dancing is a big deal. Dancing is what we were designed to do. I have a story, very quick. The Rosicrucians made a very beautiful discovery when studying the human form. And they studied the human form down to, every square inch of the body to find these connections with the between the auric system and the chakra system and the meridians and so forth. And they had one finding that was very interesting, and that is that if you take the vertebrae of the human spine and you weigh each one and you compare the weight of one vertebrae to the one next to it, the ratio difference between those is identical to the scale on a piano, which more appropriately is basically within music theory a certain set of ratios that appear to the heart as harmony. But so what that really means, though, is that the spine is connected with the musical scale, is that we are built from and manifested of music. In fact, what we are, Eleni, good to see you. In fact, what we are is God's song. And each one of us is our own beautiful little melody. And how we manifest is a side effect of that. And so to dance is so natural to us. And one of the things that it will do is that it will increase our activity, increase our blood flow, increase our respiration, increase our love for life by increasing endorphins. And it certainly is a social activity, not always. Dancing alone is fun. But dance in the rain, dance at parties. And as a means of exercise, that's also a very important thing as well. Another thing that I would say is that one thing that you mentioned, which was a big deal, and it's coming up here as well, is that you get stressed and then you emotionally eat or you binge. Now, what I'll say to that is that certainly whenever we feel an emptiness inside of us, we need to fill it. That's just our nature. Who wants to be empty? And we all have our ways of doing that. But rather, what I think that is more important is for you to find out what is it that I'm lacking, and then correct that. And then once you've corrected that, the other behavior just simply disappears because it's no longer a necessity. There'll be no need to emotionally eat. You'll be too busy dancing. So that's my suggestion. And so, now certainly not now within the context of a live stream, but what I would say is to do some work on finding out what it is that's lacking in you, and maybe we can do that in another time, or if you'd like to do a private reading, or we can look at it later or another time. What is it that's lacking in your, not you the body, but you the soul? What's the matter, Sarah? Why the sad face? So that's kind of what I would say about that. Let's find that thing that's lacking in your spirit repair that, allow the energy to flow again, and then magically the behavior disappears because it's no longer necessary. Because why do we act? We act out of necessity. So. Hello, Red Mood. Welcome. Thank you for stopping in. I love that, Eleni. Emotionally eat healthy food. That's almost like a bumper sticker. I love it. Become a vegan. Binge all you want. Okay. Well, listen, I hope that was helpful. No problem, Danny. And, you know, I think that really is, that's really kind of for everyone in the room. Regardless of what's happening in your life, you know, what is that thing that is lacking? What's that emptiness that is allowing? And then, oh, I'm glad. Thank you so much. Mulimu? How is that pronounced? Mulimu, what's that? I have to know how that's pronounced. You got to help me with that. Okay, so Yazzie. How are you doing? What can we do for you? Okay. With family? Whew, yeah. Sometimes they can have an influence on a lot of things, your diet, so forth. That girl Brixty, how are you? Good. Having a good night. I'm glad to have a good conversation. Message from my spirit guide that I need to hear at this time, please and thank you. Yazzie, I have to say something thank you for that question. I think the most beautiful question that anybody could ask when approaching an opportunity to touch infinity and to receive an answer is what would you have me know? That's my question that I ask when doing my personal readings. Not how do I do this, how do I do that, whatever the case, but what would you have me know? And so it's a beautiful question, and I'll be happy to approach that right now. Yazzie, move. Move. The message is go. Do it. Yeah. I see packing. I see whether that is a destination or like a move. And you'll know more than obviously I would at this point, but I would say the message is move. Swift. Don't wait. Clear as crystal. I almost get the sense that you should have, or the opportunity came and you didn't, or something along those lines even. But that's what I'm getting. And you know what I'm going to do? I want to look at that a little further too. I just want to. Really? Okay. Then let's look at that. There's an older woman. This is Snicker. This is one of the cats of the people that we're babysitting animals for. She's a sweetheart. She decided that she wanted my lap right now. There's an older woman. Um, and I see there being some type of potentially assistance. I don't think it's financial. I don't see that. Wow. Yeah, good. So yeah, I would say that the message is very, yeah, it's the more I look at it, the more I just pulled another card, and it's really just right there. Beautiful. I love it when they're that crystal clear to me. Um, Now, is it when you say also that you want to move? Is it like for career or for a change of environment, or you just don't feel like you're in the right place, or what's your motivation? Atika Abdullah, Atika, hello. The cat loves you back, don't you? Yes, you do, Snicker. That's a cute name for a cat, Snicker. I also have a beautiful dog in the room right now that we're babysitting for them. That maybe will come on camera later. Okay. Okay, Sarah, you're next. Oh, I see. Okay, good. Well, that's a biggie, Yazzie. Yeah. And good luck with that. Like, really. Oh, sure. That's difficult. That's a hard situation. I know some people, a lot of people that have been in that situation recently, actually, and surprisingly, the people that I'm babysitting the dogs for are in that situation. Um, and so, yeah, it's a big deal, and it can be very frustrating. Okie dokie. Let's see here, Sarah. Okay, Sarah, how does Michael the Taurus feel about Sarah the Virgo? He was pushing for a commitment, and now he's ignoring me. Really? Hmm. Got Katy Perry on you. A little bipolar. Okay, well, let's see. That's one way to put it, Eleni. Yes, Taurus men are weird. That's true. Taurus men can be very stubborn and insecure, and that doesn't always really bode well for relationships under certain circumstances. Sagittarius. So, okay. No problem, Yazzie. Thank you so much. Okay, so Taurus women are different, but I'll tell you, um, during the moments in your life when you're feeling those insecure moments, it's okay. And so, there's no need to sort of, which again, this is more of a Taurus male trait, but to overcompensate. Is it okay? I believe it's working. Let's see. I believe it's still on. I think that